10, live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Harriet Agbeyi.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Governor of Niger State, Muazu Aliyu, promises full participation of the North in the proposed national conference as region not afraid of its outcome. Delta Central Senatorial by-election holds amid complaints by voters as candidates boast of victory. Today on our Independence Special Report series, we shift attention to the education sector. An African Union condemns the International Criminal Court for ignoring its request to defer some cases involving African leaders.
On business news tonight, the National Population Commission releases unemployment rate figures for 2011. It went up by 2.8%.
And in sports news is D-Day for the Super Eagles as they square up against Ethiopia's Wale Antelopes in the final qualifier for the 2014 FIFA World Cup.
We begin tonight with an issue that has hogged top headlines for the last couple of days, the proposed national dialogue. Well, Niger State Governor Muazu Aliyu says the North is fully prepared to participate and has nothing to fear over the outcome of the dialogue, insisting that the region can do without oil. The governor at a forum in Kaduna expressed optimism that the proposed national dialogue will usher in a new constitution that will be acceptable to all.
The main issue is the unity of Nigeria, but we need to really discuss so that anybody who has anything in his mind should be able to bring it out. By the time we unify, there will be no talk of every issue that comes up is like one person wants to break away or one person wants independence. No. Like people say, we need a people's constitution. This dialogue will help us to have one, because when people discuss, then it is from there we will tease out the thinking of Nigerians and make it into a proper law.
Governor of Niger State, Dr. Muazu Aliyu. Well, the Advisory Committee on National Conference is not under any political influence. Now, that's coming from a member of the committee, Mairo Amshi. In defense of why the committee was set up, she says it's primarily to find a solution to Nigeria's unity problem so the country can forge ahead as one entity.
Not an issue of politics right now. It's the issue of bringing Nigerians, all stakeholders, to talk, speak their minds, and frankly bring out the solutions to Nigerians' problem. We cannot forge ahead without coming together, discussing our problems, and making a way forward to see how we can forge ahead as a united nation. So I don't think there will be anybody that can influence the decision of this committee politically. We are working for Nigerians, we are working for the betterment of our country. We want to see our country grow, we want to see we stay together as one nation.
Voting in the Delta Central Senatorial election has ended with collation of results ongoing. The candidates of the different political parties who contested are optimistic they will emerge victorious in the poll. In the build-up to the poll earlier, the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Ortega Omeo, says his party remains the only party that will liberate the Urhobo nation from the shackles of underdevelopment. But the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Emmanuel Agwarodo, insists that the PDP is the only party to reckon with in the state. And meanwhile, some supporters of the All Progressives Congress have accused INEC officials in Otugeremi, Oheli South local government area of the state of collaborating with the People's Democratic Party to disenfranchise their teaming supporters by not conducting elections in Ewu 1, 2 and 3 wards and a Kapreme ward in the local government area. The INEC official in charge of the local government area declined to comment on the allegation.
We have no election, and no election is legally served in Okwagwe in particular. You cannot militarize your place and say there's election. It will not work that way. Violence will not bring good to anybody. By the grace of God, we are here to support good governance. But please, let materials get down and let people go. This 3 o'clock. This 3 o'clock, Ewu is a terrain that only every other thing that can go there is by speedboats. We are here. The corporals who will do everything, they are here.
They said the materials should pass through Komandi, which is almost 4 local government away from where we are going. Even 6 hours drive. Some minutes before 3 o'clock, the deputy governor came and he started harassing the EO, telling the EO that you must move these materials to the riverine area. And I told him it's not possible because this is the time. Accreditation ought to have ended by 12. Accreditation starts 8 o'clock. That is the Electoral Act. And anything short of it has come short of the law. And therefore, such election will not be held to be a valid election.
Still talking politics, the All Progressives Congress has flagged off its governorship campaign ahead of the November 16 elections in the state. That's in Anambra State. Or flag bearer of the party in the state, Dr. Chris Ngige, took his campaign to Anyocha local government where he was received by a large crowd. But Senator Ngige told the people that even though Anyocha is the home of the incumbent governor, Peter Obi, he needs their support to win the election. Being a former governor of the state himself, Dr. Ngige also used the opportunity to identify some of the projects executed while he was in office, saying he can do much more to address their needs.
We built the first major road that passed through Nibo, Nibo. That project has about 3 bridges. And it's one of the costliest projects of my government. We are coming back to give you people good quality roads again. We don't want people not to go to school in Anambra State. Half education is a disease. And we are going to make education free for all of them in that category. We need 3/4 of all the votes, registered voters in Anyocha. But there are some towns in Anyocha that have singularly been doing things for ACN and APC. Each election we have won some wards there. Ichida is there. Adazienu we have always won consistently. Many we have always divided it with Abga, even though Peter is from Anyocha. We come here, we take some towns from him. But now that he is not vying, we want you people to give us 100% of the votes in Anyocha.
Nasarawa State is set to commission a 100 million naira rice processing plant under the federal government negotiated international cooperation with Japan. Inspecting the plant in Lafia, the state capital, Governor Tanko Al-Makura says the milling plant will serve as a training complex for cooperative societies, further leading to the establishment of cottage rice milling centers across the state. The project has an installed capacity of milling 1.5 metric tons of rice per hour.
Nasarawa State is a highly agrarian state with a large percentage of its populace engaged in farming and agro-allied activities. The state is one of the 2 states selected by the federal government to pilot the production of rice in commercial quantity in the country. In this regard, the federal government negotiated a collaboration with the Japan International Cooperation Agency for the construction of a modern rice milling plant in Nasarawa.
What brought about the idea was an initiative of the federal government to delimitate states that have conducive environment for certain productions. And during Economic Council meeting, Nasarawa State and Niger State were selected to be the pilot stage that will implement the model of this tripartite arrangement, specifically dedicated to rice production and processing and transfer of technology. While we come in as a state, the idea is federal government's which brought the two partners together. But the actual funding and implementation of the project is specifically that of Nasarawa State and JICA.
Rice farmers from across the state will have their produce milled directly from this plant to encourage local rice production.
But I'm here just making support to JICA to install that machine all for the rice milling plant.
The Nasarawa state government provided the building housing the plant at the cost of 55 million naira, while the Japanese government provided the equipment worth 45 million naira.
In part 2, after the break, we'll take a look at Nigeria's education sector in continuation of our Independence Special Reports. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.